a year ago. And he knocks this one through. The Rice Owls get on the board first. What does that do for their confidence?
Exactly what they did last year. They went up 3-0. I think it's huge for David Bailiff's crew to go up 3-0. Couple of mistakes. They got a little bit of a break, but here they sit. Got to leave.
The Owls trying to crash the party here. They're more than just a party ornament. 3-0 when we come back to Austin.
Texas football on the Longhorn Network is brought to you by H-E-B. For all your game day needs, no store does more than H-E-B. And Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Austin, Texas, the state capital of Texas. And Rice, by virtue of the 10-play, 41-yard drive, a 41-yard field goal, leading 3-0. This is a community that has been anxiously waiting to see what this year's edition of the Longhorns would look like at Cunningham, shrouded in mystery. How much buzzkill is there that they trail 3-0 right now?
I would imagine there's a few people in the stands thinking, uh-oh, here we go again. But I just think it's too early. I do think, more importantly, I don't think this is going to get Texas down as much as I think it helps Rice's confidence coming in. So I think Texas is going to be fine, but I think the 3-point lead right now, if I'm Rice, it's a pretty big deal.
Into the end zone, and it'll come out to the 20-yard line. Malcolm Brown, the highly touted, Quandre Diggs, the sophomore, the freshman, coming back out. As we take a look at the offensive backs and receivers, the lineup sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Whitaker has really done a great job in the weight room under their new strength and conditioning coach, putting his body back together. Davis, one of their deep threats. And up front, Ed, you played the position. What do you make of their offensive line?
They've just got to get a lot better. They got soft over the last few years, and one of the hires I thought that was great that Mack Brown made was Stacy Searles, who's an offensive lineman from back, played at Auburn, coached at LSU, coached at Georgia. Went and got him from Georgia, and I think that was a great hire.
This pass complete to Whitaker out of the backfield, and Fozzie Whitaker picks up the first down of the season for the Texas Longhorns, and you can almost hear collectively a little bit of an exhale out there.
And we were visiting with Brian Harsin, the new co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Of course, he shares the duty with Major Applewhite, who's a holdover from last year's staff. But he was talking about Fozzie Whitaker, and a young man who's been injured a lot during his career. And he said, even with these young guys, these five-star guys that are coming in, Fozzie's going to have a position because of that. He can catch the ball. He'll always have a job for us.
First down and 10. Whitaker again between the tackles this time, put his hat down and got rocked. Stop made by Justin Allen, but it's going to be second down and about 6 to go.
And just kind of talking about Brian Harsin, I was so impressed on Wednesday. I believe we may have had a flag, didn't we? But I was so impressed with him on the field.
Blocking below the waist, the number 18 of the offense. 15-yard penalty and replay first down.
Look at DJ Grant for blocking below the waist. But I was so impressed with Brian Harsin on the practice field. He just has that presence about him. They went to special teams, and the quarterbacks were kind of figuring out what to do. And he was down in the end zone ready to do some drills, throwing into baskets. And he just got him around and said, guys, how many times have I told you, special teams sprint to me, we've got work to do. Just kind of a new atmosphere around the offense. And remember, this is a guy, go back to 2006, called all of those plays in the upset of Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. So he knows a thing or two about calling plays.
We're waiting for those trick plays. Those are going to be fun when they finally get unveiled. Whitaker, the only back, a play fake. Gilbert going up top, has a man wide open. Davis. Mike Davis got in behind Chris Jammer. And it's a first down, Texas.
Well, pretty good job. A little bit of a play fake. Brought the safeties down. Little pressure there, but able to get it off. And you can't throw the ball any better. And Davis, a guy who last year the coaches knew would give him some speed, but because of the struggles on offense and an injury to Davis, they weren't able to uncork him. They were there.
First and 10 after the 56-yard gain. Whitaker tripped up in the backfield. Down to the 24-yard line. Tell me about Gilbert and what kind of mechanical differences you see with him this year.
Well, when you go back to last year, there's a couple of different things. Here he takes a false step against Kansas State, right? Here, you'll see how his foot jams into the ground, but he doesn't throw it. So now, watch his left foot slide off to the side. He's got nothing to throw the ball on. Of course, throws interception. Now, watch his shoulders as he rolls out. His left shoulder is actually vertical and right into the line of scrimmage. He's got to open that left shoulder up some, and that's one of the drills that Harsin was doing the other day, was getting those shoulders turned a little bit more.
2nd and 7 completes this pass. Whitaker again stopped up at about the 22-yard line by Wasu. What does he look like now in terms of his motion?
So they worked a ton on his footwork, but they also worked on lowering the ball a little bit. Such a better job. Did you notice how he didn't even really stride into that ball? It was more of a pivot and throw. That was one thing that Bryan Harsin really looked at. Was we just saw that against Kansas State last year. He had a tendency to overstride. It's almost like if you've ever seen a pitcher come off the mound and fall backwards. You just never see that. So they've been working hard. That deep throw there, his footwork looked so much better than it did almost the entire season 2010.
3rd and 5. Tried to thread it in there, but incomplete intended once again for Davis. This time Jammer was there to break it up. So it's 4th and 5, and they're within field goal range for Justin Tucker, who can go, we're told by Mack Brown, all the way out to about 50 yards. He has a career long of 51.
And I noticed this in practice the other day. Must be a fan of the Oregon Ducks. Check out his footwear.
Different color scheme. But it came off his foot well anyway. I guess it doesn't matter, Ed. A 39-yard field goal good, knotting the game at 3 apiece. A lot of luminaries from the Longhorns past on hand, not necessarily football either. What do you do during your summer vacation? Hey, all basketball guys want to play football, right?
That is not a spiral. That is not a spiral.
Hey, folks, join host Lowell Galindo for Game Plan with Mack Brown Thursday nights on the Longhorn Network for unprecedented access to Coach Brown and the most up-to-date Texas football news. Game Plan with Mack Brown on the Longhorn Network Thursdays at 7 o'clock Central. Put your eyes on Texas.
Well, you know, that face there, that's a 5 and 7 face. They need to get a 2011 face for Mack.
We need to turn that upside down at the corners there. So far, we're tied at 3. Talk about all access. They peeked in on our production meetings a little bit with the coaching staff.
And now for Rice, you know, you're sitting here at 3-3 with 4:31 left in the first. McCart looked pretty good in that last series. They take chances occasionally. They're not a deep ball throwing team. I would see maybe a little play action and see if you can't pop a big one here if you're Rice.
At the 5-yard line, this is Charles Ross. Ross found an alley. And a great return by Ross all the way out near midfield, where he's brought down by Bindum. So the Owls will start with great field position. And now for today's LonghornNetwork.com poll question. Who will be the Longhorns' leading rusher tonight? Log on to LonghornNetwork.com to cast your vote. Bergeron, Brown, Gilbert, or Whitaker?
I'm going with DJ Monroe. I'm going off the menu.
He's going off the menu?
He's going to hit about a 60-yard reverse.
Okay.
They've got a special package for him. He can really scoot. So I'm going off the menu there.
Right. Garg out of the shotgun. Charles Ross in the backfield behind him. Now to the side of him. Ross on the handoff. That's up a 2nd down and about 5 to go.
You know, one of the things that Manny Diaz does is so many multiple types of defenses, but this is a very veteran offensive line for Rice. Of course, we know Rice, one of the best academic institutions in the country, all of the world, actually. So these are bright young men with a lot of starts. And right now, other than when we saw Keaston Randall run a little bit free, we haven't seen a bunch of bodies coming free with all the pressure and different looks that Texas is giving Rice.
Speaking of different looks, Ed, for the first time today, Sam McGuffey on the field. And he takes the handoff with that 10.600-meter speed. And he's chopped down near the first down at about the 42-yard line by Kenny Vaccaro. How much of a game changer is McGuffey?
Well, last year he was the only guy who could run with guys on Texas, and you can just see that speed. Good job where he ducked inside. Watch the inside slot receiver, Vance McDonald, 6'5", 260. Walls his guy in. There was a nice little duck and bounce out. Sometimes, though, they want him to calm down a little bit, take it up a seam, because he seems to always, with that speed, want to bounce it outside.
1st and 10. He got enough for the first down. Charles Ross back in the ball game. Texas coming with a little heat. And McCarg throws it way out of bounds, and a late flag now on the play. Acho was in there. One of the leaders.
A personal foul by number 52 of the offense. 15-yard penalty, and it's 2nd down.
That's the center, Keyshawn Carrington.
And here's this offensive line, a blitz right up the middle. A little bit late coming off on the right guard, but that is, that's just a bad play by Carrington. You see it right there at the end. Play's gone. You can't make that mistake. David Bailiff, a defensive lineman by trade in college at Texas State. And man, you just can't hurt yourself sitting here 3-3 against Texas when you got a few things going.
Second and 25. McGuard completes it. And out to the 47-yard line. That's Vance McDonald.
Of course, we've been talking a lot about Texas and their new staff, new offensive staff, as David Beatty left to go back to Kansas, who's the offensive coordinator, and John Reagan calling his very first FBS level college football game on offense today.
Looking at a 3rd and long here, 21 to go. But for the most part, the Owls have had a huge advantage in time of possession early.
And if you're Texas, you're thinking screen here. I just don't see this ball being thrown more than 5 or 10 yards, so be ready for some type of screen.
They've got those huge receivers. A big target complete there at the 45-yard line. That was Luke Wilson, the 6'5" junior from Canada, brought down by Vaccaro. And it's both sides of the ledger where we actually see receivers as big as 6'5".
Yeah, and I like what Rice is doing here right now. They're going for it on 4th down. I like the aggressive call. Let's see if I think you got to throw a fade, maybe. You've got to get something beyond the sticks. It's 4th down, so
4th and 12. Got to get all the way to the 32. And now a pooch punt by McGuard.
Oh
boy, they didn't really gain much field position in that.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't mind them going on 4th. When you get over the 50, if you punt it into the end zone, if you're down around the 30, that was probably a little long. Now I understand they were going with the pooch kick, which I think is a great call, but unfortunately, bad execution.
What would have made that a win for them? How far downfield?
Inside the 20. I think you got to get inside the 15 for me to consider a punt. When you're on, they were probably a little far. But once you get to about the 40, if you're not dropping the ball inside the 15, what's the difference? Just boot it into the end zone and get it to the 20.
Garrett Gilbert back on the field. Joe Bergeron in the backfield now. A lot of different backs for the Longhorns we'll get a look at this afternoon. Empty formation, and Gilbert incomplete. Threw it a little bit low, intended for Mike Davis. It was closely covered by Philip Gaines on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Rice could not cover this well last year. This is so much better coverage. The Longhorns are dealing with a very young receiving core, still trying to learn some of their routes. But right now, David Bailiff secondary, coordinated by Chuck Driesbach, a guy who's been around the block a million times. They brought in a new cornerback coach this year. And right now, the coverage has been really good, except for that one long ball to Davis.
2nd and 10. Play fake by Gilbert. Given time and batted away nicely at the last moment once again. Philip Gaines there, intended for Mike Davis. It almost appeared as if, although Gaines got a hand in there, it might have gone off of Davis's shoulder pad. Either way, 3rd and long coming up.
Gaines, a good tall corner at 6'1", 185. Did a nice job of putting that left hand in front of him. And this was a defense last year. Of course, they're missing their signal caller right